The pick is in.
The Washington Wizards have made a selection in the 2025 NBA Draft. I'm Doug Branson, joined now by Ben Strober, host of Locked On Wizards, and the Washington Wizards have selected Tre Johnson out of Texas with the number 6 pick. Ben, your first reaction when the pick came in?
So after everything fell, once Con Knipple went number 4, as a Wizards fan, goodness, you're going to have Tre Johnson or Ace Bailey available for you at some point in this draft. Ace Bailey goes 5. Tre Johnson was the next best thing for me. I'm over the moon with this pick. This is a guy that can score at all 3 levels, stretches the floor to an extent the Wizards have not had in DC in years. You get rid of your worst three-point shooter, or your best three-point shooter, in Jordan Poole in the trade that happens yesterday. And now Tre Johnson, a guy that shot 40% as a freshman en route to the Freshman of the Year award in the SEC Conference, the best in college basketball. I think he fits the mold perfectly here in Washington alongside Bob Carrington, the other guard for DC, who will have an expanded role. I am so thrilled for this pick.
Now, pre-draft, there was a lot of talk about Washington looking towards Ace Bailey. Of course, Ace goes number 5 to the Jazz. Were you surprised that Ace went to the Jazz and that the Wizards didn't make a stronger play for him to move up to 3, 4, or 5 to select him?
I'm a little bit surprised that Utah took him, but at the end of the day, I'm not, because I think Bailey was the second most talented offensive player in the draft. And throughout this whole process where we had seen the smoke screens that Bailey might be there at 6, I just think to myself, how is a guy this good going to be available at 6? I knew Philadelphia wasn't going to take him, but I actually thought that somebody like Brooklyn would potentially trade up to get their guy in Ace Bailey. So I was a little bit surprised about that, but I think he was too talented to fall to where he did. So that's a great selection for Utah.
You get a pure scorer in Tre Johnson and someone that does have star upside. What do you think this pick signals about Washington's view about the rebuild? You've got a young core there. You've got a little bit of a mix of veterans that you brought in at the trade deadline. Where do you see this whole thing shaking out when we get to the beginning of the regular season?
So this upcoming season for the Wizards is obviously another year of a rebuild, because the Wizards have to be in the bottom 4 of the league in order to guarantee a top 8 pick, which is top 8 protected for the New York Knicks. If not, the Wizards would lose that first round pick. So I'd expect the Wizards to be pretty bottom out, be focused on another year of development. But I think what they did yesterday by trading away Saddiq Bey and Jordan Poole, you get rid of guys on 2-year deals, and then you essentially have everyone that's on a 1-year deal after an expiring deal. You're going to clear up $85 million off your books by next summer. You're going to have over $100 million in cap space. I think this signifies, especially with this pick and the offensive upside that you get from Tre Johnson, that Washington is hoping to really take a big step next summer and start seriously trying to be competitive again.
Do you think there are enough shots to go around for Tre Johnson? You've got some young guards that you've invested in. You've got CJ McCollum now in the Poole deal. Are there enough shots to go around to feed Tre Johnson in his rookie season?
I think so. And I think the veterans that you have brought up, whether it's Marcus Smart, Chris Middleton, or CJ McCollum, I think these are the perfect guys to teach the tricks of the trade here to a young player in Tre Johnson, who just has so much upside. I think Bob Carrington playmake really well in his first year in Washington. With his role expanding with the departure of Jordan Poole, I expect Tre Johnson to get plenty of shots. It's going to be tough to see how the Wizards focus on who they develop and what that looks like, but I would not be surprised to see Johnson be one of the more ball-dominant players on this team in year number 1.
All right, thank you, Ben, for your expertise. For more on Tre Johnson, here's Locked On Longhorns.
Tre Johnson is a walking bucket. What's up, guys and gals? BK with Locked On Longhorns here, telling you about maybe the best scorer in this year's draft. Tre Johnson, as a true freshman, led the SEC in scoring a season ago, averaging close to 20 points per game. Remember, the SEC, the best conference in college basketball history this past year. Tre Johnson stood alone atop the league. He is a true 3-level scorer. He can hit threes. He can make from the mid-range. He can slash and finish at the 10 as well. He's also a great free throw shooter to boot. This game has always been about getting buckets, and Tre Johnson can get you some buckets. He's an emotional player. He wears his heart on his sleeve, but man, when he gets hot, he is tough to stop, and he is going to make one fan base very, very happy at the next level. For more on the Texas Longhorns, subscribe to Locked On Longhorns on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
For continued coverage of Tre Johnson, check out Locked On Wizards on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.